This is Critical Nonsense, our high-lowbrow show about culture, science, and tech. This week, Aaron asks me about Hanlon's Law.
Woo! I'll be home for Quizmize. This is what an Aaron sounds like. And this is what an executive producer and Selena Gomez fanfic writer, Jess Vander sounds like.
Hi, this is Jess.
I don't even know if you can fanfic real people. Is that a thing that you can do? I don't know.
This sort of imagined universe surrounding an actual person.
Yes. You know, before we get into things, I was listening to an interview with Kevin McHale, the actor who you might know as Artie from Glee.
Yeah.
And he was talking quite a bit about how difficult and weird it is being at the type of celebrity that he is, where like you know him. Like when you see him, if you were like a Gleek, you're like, oh my God, it's him. And also that show, like the cast, the people of the show went through so much trauma. Like they lost friends and like Corey Monteith and others. And so people, you know, do the thing that they do to celebrities where it's like Tuesday morning at Starbucks, just getting a coffee. And then it's like, so yeah, Naya Rivera, how do you feel about that?
Oh,
and it's
God.
just like, oh, can you remember that these are real people? Like it's like one of my best friends and that's really a lot. And I need a latte right now. And so yeah, Kevin McHale.
Whoa.
Very good. How do we ourselves out of that? So
yeah.
Ooh, is our Starbucks clean? Maybe we can just do that.
Swept, sparkling.
Yes.
Siren sounds good.
And apparently siren sounds, you know, they're going on strike. It sounds like the workers authorized that today. For Red Hat Day, no less. So I don't know if that will have already happened by the time the episode comes out, but yeah. So I'm coming in with all the sunshine. That's my yeah.
Well, anyway,
let's get into the show. I've got some things that I wonder if this is relevant to how I'm barreling into this episode. So, Jess, I've been spending a fair amount of time, I don't know why, looking up razors. And
Motorola. Scooter.
Okay, it took me a minute. It literally took me a minute because I was like, I think, no, Motorola never made physical, like, shaving razors. But
but it took you a moment.
It took me. I think they might
RAZR.
Yeah,
rebooted, right?
Yes, it did.
They re-release?
Yes, and man, it was just talk about like being at the right moment of Optimus time for your first product and not the second one. Like, yeah. Your fold phone is probably 3 years too early. Motorola, good work. Anyway. The razors that I've been more obsessed with are not the phone kind, not the shaving kind. I don't have any facial hair. And it's actually the philosophy razors, like Occam's razor. And I only recently learned that, like, razors are a tool. Like, they are a philosophical tool that simplifies and is cuts away excessive decision making and thinking. That's kind of that's why it is considered a razor.
Wow.
And you know, just for the sake of those who aren't just sitting around with Occam's razor sitting in the back of their brain.
Yeah. Wait. Can I try? Isn't it just like the simplest solution is probably it? So don't make it more complicated than it has to be. Is kind of the way. Is that myth or is that right?
That is right. Although I will post a video in the show notes that brings some nuance and complexity to it that I was not familiar with. But that is it. That is it. The simplest solution is probably the solution, right? That's yes. So I came across another one that was coined by a sci-fi writer in 1980. And it's attributed to him because it's, as Hanlon's razor.
Oh.
And I'd love to share it with you.
Yeah.
It is, never ascribe to malice that which is adequately explained by incompetence.
Well.
Yeah. It hit me like a ton of bricks. It really hit me like a ton of bricks because I think that it starts to undercut a lot of the assumptions that modern day social media fueled interactions by nature have to traffic in. I think it's doubled down on by remote work and overall, not even just remote work and social media, but just like overall isolation. We are more distant from each other and more lonely than we were before. So we like make up versions of other people's motives in our head. And I think now more than ever, we run the risk of spinning out on those. So the question I have for you, Jess, is why do we expect the worst?
It's so interesting because it makes me like, do we expect the worst because we expect more? Like somehow at the same time? Because the idea that, like, if I'm understanding Hanlon's razor correctly, it's like, oh, it's probably someone intentionally coming to get me, not just being, ignorant or incompetent or lacking in some way. Because in that, are we expecting that someone has thought, intention? Is it actually similar to how we like to explain things with reason that otherwise, do not have one? Because it's like, no, that thing definitely was on purpose. Like we like to have something have an explanation, and it feels like, relatedly, maybe it's that we expect that people have a plan, have an intention. They must have known how that would make me feel, or something like that, instead of just like, oops, I don't know.
Why? I love that. We forget, I don't know how and why, but we forget that oops is very common.
Right.
That people oops all the time. And like, I do believe that, like, I believe in the what is it, the gut brain connection, the idea that there are things that move so quickly and so deeply within us that they jump over conscious thought, and they, influence our behavior and actions before we can necessarily, like, say this is the rational reason why. They embed ourselves in our gut, their gut instinct. But I also think that, like, people are people, and they are tired, and they're overwhelmed, and they've got a lot of filters that their, like inside out Pixar like team are all trying to hold up, and sometimes they can't hold them up all the time. And so then some oops will slip out.
Right.
And like, that's worth considering.
Right. Or for the person who assumes or ascribes malice to something, I could also see, like the cognitive biases trickling in of like, well, I've been thinking about this and I care a lot about this. And so that must mean that this other person who hath wronged me, is also thinking equally about that and must be intentionally, doing, pulling a hijinks over me or something. When it's like, actually, maybe they haven't thought at all about this. Maybe, maybe it hasn't crossed their mind, or maybe it has, but some totally other thing. Like, it's interesting how that conclusion is, it's easier to just be like, well, they must have equal knowledge of all of the things as I do. And if they did, then it would have been because they are me.
Right. There's this Instagram account I follow called Cringe Boulevard, and it's like a mixture, in my opinion, of like staged and unstaged interactions that people have that are, would probably fall in the camp of like Karen moments, things like that. And especially in watching the ones that I definitely feel are probably staged, there's the idea of like writing this sort of interaction and scripting this sort of interaction kind of makes you have to jump into the mind of what a viewer is going to assume. And like, what is the like general consensus? Because like, it's just another way of saying like, this person, their data set is wrong. Like, it is not just different from the rest of society, but it is obviously not including the key elements that we all intuitively know. But then some of them you watch and you're like, I have no empathy for them necessarily, but I do like, sometimes it's like the instinct or something like that comes from it. It's like, oh, the reason you let that spark light you off is not like that's where you were wrong. And then you were super wrong for all the other stuff that you decided to like let come out of your mouth alongside it. But like, you were wrong in the assumption that everyone was out to get you, or that like, that somehow this just bringing Starbucks and everything today, that like somehow me ordering this Starbucks cup, or the fact that my drink hasn't come out yet, is like because these people who are just doing their jobs looked over you and you're like, I'm gonna screw them. This is what it's about.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of related to this, but Ryan and I watching TV will sometimes, assuming that no one else is there who we would bother, will sometimes like talk about while watching a show how realistic an interaction is, or like how good the writing is of like, okay, yes, like that smart person just behaved very dumb. Like, in order to make that plot point work, you need like it was too many things that like didn't feel like it made sense. Like, you really had to stretch for that one, versus when it all sort of like everything sort of locks into place, you're like, oh, that was really good. And I feel like that works best when it's like you can see all of those very natural foibles sort of happening as you would expect them to. Like, you watch this one person ignore. We've been watching Slow Horses, and in this show about like MI5 dropouts, you could like watch these characters as you're like, no, don't of course, okay, you're gonna do that. Like, that makes total sense why this would happen to you, and everything that like you can't help yourself, and this is why you found yourself in this situation where you're not a top performing agent. I highly recommend the show for anyone who has not watched. It's on Apple TV, but it's just that perfect example of like, oh, when people actually are their most natural selves, they will fall into these traps. They will assume the worst from people, or maybe they will overlook what would be obvious to someone who has all the facts and all like the full picture. But when you are sort of party of one in your own head, that's when everything starts falling apart.
First of all, I've not seen Slow Horses yet, but Gary Oldman can do no wrong. So
just incredible.
Like, yes. And then number two, I love that you bring in like TV and film to this, because specifically TV and film writing, because like good writing in film and TV is actually about good psychology.
Yeah.
It's about and good sociology, understanding motivation, why people would do a thing, and making sure that is consistent. Like,
yes.
And they can be consistent in their inconsistency. They can be like there can be things that are like that occupy zones of like chaos, but it has to come from a place where it's like, yes, logically, a person who has experienced this would react in this way. And bad writing is when that falls apart. And, my favorite thing is watching shows that are in that, like, in between of, like, the transition from, like, network structured writing to streaming. Because it's the ones where it's like, oh, you had different writers every week and every episode, whatever. And it's just like, oh, there's no, like, human continuity here. They don't have any motivations. You can't ascribe incompetence or malice to anyone.
Right. It's structurally not designed for it. This is another thing that came up in our house talking the other day about, like, when something is like doesn't work the way you want it to in, like, an app or a website or something. It's like, it's like, who designed this? And it's like, it probably isn't for lack of talent. It's probably like a organizing structural problem. It's probably like, it's not like someone couldn't figure this out. It's that it isn't figured out for probably some other reason that is unavoidable based on the company or whatever. It's so funny. It's also it's really interesting that in this, like, question of great writing and, like, digging into people's real motivations, it's like it's actually way harder to explain malice. Like, this is the Thanos problem, right? Of, like, Thanos in the Avengers universe is like, we got to restart the whole world and kill everyone. And it's like, yes, but why? Like, is there like, you have to come up with, like, a really good reason that someone would be so pressed and motivated in that way, versus incompetence. This is like the sneaky secret weapon of, like, like, fair.
Yes.
Like, someone done goofed, and, like, that actually doesn't require much explanation.
I love that, because I also think that that's scarier and more threatening than malice. Like, I used to say about someone in my life who I will not mention that when they did things that were hurtful, I would often say, like, oh no, but I expected them to do that. So, like, what would be more scary to me is if they acted in a way that I didn't expect, and, like, that they did something else, because then it's like, invasion of the body snatchers. Like, who is this person now?
Who are
and
you?
It's like, and it is like, going to the razor itself, like, it is incredibly freeing to allow yourself to actually assume not malice, and to make, like, to give people the, like, burden of proof that their motivation is malicious. It, I have found, has created so much more peace in certain interactions with people. It reminds me that, like, I think most people are just trying to do their best. Like, most people are trying. And if you assume malice, then you are going to get into a battle posture. And it is going to reinforce, I think, a lot of the, like, presets that we have for reacting to malice. And I think, I don't know, this idea of, like, presets to malice to me is kind of interesting, because, like, there are many people who are culturally programmed to assume that everybody's coming after them, that, like, for many, many different reasons, paranoia requires them to be in battle stance. And so, or, like, life has taught them that being in a battle stance is survival and the only way that you make it through. And I want to acknowledge that, because that's true. Likewise, reacting to everything, assuming a malicious intent, becomes a similar sort of muscle memory, and a similar sort of, like, code of operating, like, to navigate the world and to survive the world. If you assume the opposite, if you assume that it's just because everybody's kind of adult or ignorant or just not in their intentional mind, man, it just, like, unfurls your shoulders and allows you to be like, no, that person cut me off in traffic because they weren't paying attention.
Yeah, it gives you patience. It bestows a patience that otherwise, like, you can't let someone off the hook if you think that they did that on purpose. Whatever it was, if they did it on purpose, you can't let it go. Because you're like, whoa, come on. Like, you did that on purpose. And then if it's like, oh, no. They could not do what you asked of them. Whatever the reason, like maybe it was a lack of skill, maybe it was a lack of awareness. Like, well, there could have been all sorts of things. But as soon as you relinquish that control of your your expectations of someone else having control over the situation, you're like, oh, well, in that case, it was an act of God. It had nothing to do with anything.
Yes. I think it's important both to remember that random chance is more likely than anything else. And it allows, I think, room for like, oh yeah, there's like literally infinite other reasons for why this behavior happened. And then also it takes me to another, it's not a razor, it's a law, so to speak. And another one that I came up when I went down this rabbit hole, Falkland's law, which is to get the most information before making a decision. So the thought is to prioritize decision quality over decision making.
Speed.
Exactly. In our day-to-day lives, especially nowadays, there are many people, I think, who are incentivized to make decisions just quickly. And I've heard the advice of like, if let's say that you're an executive, I've heard this from a lot of CMOs, and CEOs, if you're in a situation where you have two very big decisions to make and you don't know which is the right one, pick one as quickly as possible and move forward as fast as possible. Because the goal is to like basically start living in whatever reality you created rather than like mulling over all of the ins and outs of every decision and taking your time.
Well,
and there are
it sounds like procrastinator's law, am I right?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is. But when we prioritize decision quality over decision making, the presumed outcome from Falkland's law is that you are so much more likely to, of course, minimize fallout, minimize inefficiency, ultimately, because you are able to actually avoid traps. And so the thought is like, it's a build on the razor, on Hanlon's razor. Like, what if it were also, instead of just, if it can be assumed to be incompetence instead of malice, what else could it have been? And just allowing yourself to even seek out, like, what else could it have been? Even if you don't go through the actual effort of figuring out what the other motivators could have been, it just creates like room for doubt, reasonable doubt, right? That maybe it wasn't because they wanted to, because they didn't like you because of X trait or X situational factor. And slow down. Procrastinator's Paradise. Join Coolio and me in Procrastinator's Paradise. It's good.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I have now fallen down the rabbit hole because like the opposite of this is the saying, he who hesitates is lost, which I am now learning may come from a centuries old play by Cato, where a character says the woman that deliberates is lost. I don't know exactly the origins of this and all of the things wrapped up in that, but this, at least in my ignorant understanding of the more modern usage of the phrase, like the idea is almost the opposite of like, think of what opportunities you might miss, or like some waning window that you might miss if you delay a decision or if you delay action. And it's just like a reminder that there is, for every Falkland, for every, trying to keep an open mind, waiting to see what you don't know, there are certainly trade-offs to being, too naive and too slow and letting someone take advantage of you, or like I think that like that defense mechanism wrapped up in all of this of like, well, if it's from ignorance, then no ignorance, or I guess Hanlon's is incompetence. Like if it's from incompetence, no big deal. But if it's malice, like I better protect myself. So better to err on the side of defense rather than, optimism and like, expecting or assuming the best, or at least the least rather than the worst. Because what if you get got?
Yeah. Don't get got, y'all. Don't get got. Like you can choose not to get got. You can choose lesser getting got by razoring, by Occam's, by Hanlon razoring. I do think though, one of the things that this brings up is like the traps of axioms in general. And you touched on this just a little bit. There are a bunch of axioms that we use as shorthand to like, get us through certain decision making and keep certain things in mind. But many of them get taken out of context. Many of them lose certain words and actually meant the opposite of what they were intended, or the way that they are currently used, I should say. Mm-hmm. So just to give you a couple that are my favorite. Blood is thicker than water. That usually gets thrown around to be around like, family must stick together. Well, the full quote from the Bible is, for the love of, it's not from the Bible. It is, I was mixing up another one because there is another one. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. It actually is saying the opposite. The blood of choosing to connect with someone is more powerful than family kinship, right? Run with me. I got two more. Jack of all trades is a master of none. That's one that gets thrown around.
Wait. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Have you heard this one before? Jack of all trades, master of none?
I hadn't heard of is in the middle, but I was processing that could mean the same thing.
Yeah, true. Is / a comma. Like
no, I get it. I was like, wait, is this different? But it wasn't different.
So the original saying was actually, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So like it's actually literally by cutting off the whole second half of the saying, we've come to believe that it's
we missed the other thing.
Defending the other thing.
Think about our generalist versus specialist conversation mere weeks ago.
Thank you. Yes. And actually, so one last one is great minds think alike. The full saying is great minds think alike and fools seldom differ. Like, come on. There's more complexity to that. There's a lot of stuff to that. So like the first part is like, yes, agreeing positively. But the full quote is like, it's a little bit like it's cynical balance. It's like, well, like fools often agree on simple things. Fools often are just like, yeah, that's simple. Let me just run with that. So like, I don't know. It's almost like watch out for assuming that you are a great mind just because you think like those around you.
Yeah. So what if now you're all lemmings?
Yes, run off said cliff in a 90s video game, which is the coolest version of lemmings I can ever think of. Speaking of cliffs and places that stop things, corners. Is this Jess's wrap-up corner? Maybe?
Yeah, it is.
Kind of? Yeah. What you got?
Well, we've arrived at a very specific, lesser used type of razor. Hanlon's prompting us to think about why is it that we race to the worst conclusions and assumptions about other people. And maybe it's because we actually, kind of expect a lot from people. We forget that an oops is really common. We are looking to protect ourselves from the peoples that are out to get us. And sometimes it's hard to think about the fact that being malicious and acting maliciously is often way harder than it is to just kind of have a big old gaffe. So if we're looking to dig deep and find more patience and calm and just think about maybe how much easier things could be explained. Just try just being like, oh, they just are bad at this.
Yeah.
That could maybe help. I think that's where we got.
That's the thing that I can really remember, and I love that. Maybe you're just bad at this. Like, having that voice in my head will allow Hanlon's razor to come to work for me. So I hope that it comes to work for everyone else whose ears this meets.
Keep a lookout for the second half of the sentence. You never know when somebody might turn it around and finish a thing that you thought was one thing, and then actually you're wrong. Actually, maybe you're wrong. How about that?
Let's just do that. There we go. Applied. I love it. Oh, happy fun time, Jess. That was fun.
Happy fun time, super fun razor time law.
I'm gonna go not shave. Yes. I mean, I have some facial hair, just not enough.
Critical Nonsense is a Sylvain production.
Brought to you by Fancy Toilet Paper. Ooh, have you just shaved with Hanlon's razor? Have you forgotten to clean your Occam's razor? Well, when you prick your face, just put a little square of our wonderful toilet paper on the dot. It will bring joy, crimson joy, to everyone who sees it. This went off the rails, and buy us now. Yes. I'd also like to thank... I'm sorry. I would like to thank executive producer and awesome co-host Jess Vander. Thank you for spending so much time doing all of this.
Wow, same. Thanks to you. Enjoy. This is fun. We'd also like to thank sound engineer and patient parrot Alex Contel.
So I think joining this flock of patient parrots is the calm cockatiel program coordinator Les Jacobs. He's in the flock.
And thank you to our speedy horses, our production crew. Sorry, Gilbert. Sorry, Gilbert. Nora Mestridge, Christy Jensen, Amanda Medina, and Amy Waters.
And as always, thank you, Ellen.
Thanks.
Special. Special. I want to thank the Egyptian Theater here in Los Angeles. Checked out Frankenstein on 13 millimeter. The new Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein. Really, really compelling film. Really great, viewing experience. Seeing it on 13 millimeter, and the theater itself is really cool and well run, and really makes going to see a movie a special experience. So that was sick. That was great.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Special thanks to those with patience. Patience. That's nice.
I'm good for you. Good for you having that.
Yeah. Wow. Where did you get it? I'd also like to thank Selena Gomez.
Yep. She deserves so much thanks. Okay. Did we talk about the voice on air?
No.
I don't think we did. Okay. I just want to be clear, and this might be a future episode. I think that Avril Lavigne was the original Disney voice human that then all pop music since 2003 has tried to emulate. I'm just putting it out there, and I think that Selena Gomez and all the Disney crew also emulate it, and that's where we get the weirdest enunciations of words like Christmas being Quizmoise. And if you haven't seen the video, go check the show notes. You'll appreciate it. Also, she's great. So.
Wow, great. This was fun.
This was fun. I think we did it. I think
we did it.
Cool.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. record. Alex, you'll have to tell me if my voice sounds any better on this new microphone. I think it does because I recorded some music the other day and it was really bizarre and cool. I'm not going to listen to any of this. It's only for Alex Gontel. Hi, I'm here. Yes. Okay.
Recording.
Recording.